Excellent, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the election of the 2025 Perth County Warden and Deputy Warden. My name is Tyler Sager, and I'm the clerk for the County of Perth, and with me today is Rachel Cannon. The Deputy Clerk will be acting as today's election assistant. Until the Warden and Deputy Warden have been elected, I'll be acting as the interim chair. This meeting of Perth County Council is now called to order. Okay, so I want to say welcome to everybody. We are pleased that the community members and staff can join us not only in person, but unfortunately with today's weather, virtually as well. We appreciate everyone joining us today online via our YouTube channel and Zoom. For those of you who've joined us in person, please feel free to remain afterward for a brief reception, which will include some light refreshments and snacks. After the refreshments and snacks, we'll have a brief recess and we'll be proceeding into our regular council meeting later this morning. Moving on to the agenda, we have the moment of reflection. Please join me for a brief moment of reflection. Today in particular, we keep in mind the family and friends of Councillor and past Warden Jim Aitchison. Thank you. Our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that Perth County is situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples who have a long-standing relationship with the land and water throughout the region. We honor and respect the history, languages, and culture of the diverse Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit people who call this territory home. As a county, we have responsibility for reconciliation and the continued stewardship of the land on which we live and work. Moving on in our agenda, we have greetings from invited guests. First up, we do have John Nader, the Member of Parliament, who is joining virtually. So, Mr. Nader, if you can unmute, the floor would be yours.
Good morning, and thank you, Tyler. It's wonderful to join you virtually from Ottawa this morning. I think we have slightly better weather than you do this morning, but it is nonetheless a pleasure to join you. I want to start off as well by paying tribute to our late friend Jim Aitchison. Jim was quite a character, and I really enjoyed my time working with him, especially during the pandemic, during those challenging times. We were almost daily phone calls, Zoom calls, Microsoft Teams calls, especially during that challenging time. And so I will miss his very blunt advice and suggestions. It was always a lot of fun working with Jim. So I like all of you, are joining you and thinking of his family and loved ones at this difficult time. I also want to say a big thank you to Warden Eggetts. Rhonda has been a lot of fun as well to work with over these last 2 years as Warden. Her and Sydney are often out and about in the community. Always enjoy crossing paths with them, whether it's at formal county events or out in the community events, or of course at the hockey arena with her grandkids and my kids, or at the Ball Diamond. Rhonda has been a wonderful steward for the county over these past 2 years, and I want to thank you, Rhonda, for your service. And I know you're also very proud that your daughter is also in municipal politics. So I think it's a wonderful family tradition you have there, and so thank you, Rhonda, for your service over the past year. I also want to pay tribute to the incoming warden, and I guess I shouldn't preempt the decision of the county, but to the incoming warden, I do wish them well as they move forward, and look forward to working with them over the next 12 months of this term. And to all of council, I wish you well in your deliberations over the next year. It certainly promises to be an interesting, exciting year to come. And to you and your staff, I wish you a wonderful year to come. And since we are getting close to Christmas, I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy 2025. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, MP Nader. Next, we have MPP Matthew Ray.
Hi, Tyler.
Matthew, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tyler. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you virtually, similar to MP Nader, at our respective legislative assemblies and House of Commons. It feels like I'm in a different world in Toronto. Our weather is significantly different, I think, than even Ottawa, and back home right now, way less snow. They were going to have 3 centimeters yesterday, and the city was freaking out about it. But that's here nor there, classic Toronto individuals. But as MP Nader mentioned, and as Tyler, I know many of our thoughts are with Jim and his family this week, especially Lori and the entire Aitchison family, but also our friends in Perth South as well, because obviously they were working very closely with him as he served on that council for many, many years. And thoughts are with him. Only had the pleasure of serving with Jim officially in my current capacity for a couple of years, but I know, as MP Nader mentioned, I appreciate his frankness as well. I think we need more of that, and sometimes in politics in this day and age. But really thinking about Jim and his entire family this week. Again, want to thank Warden Agats for her work over the past 2 years. It has been a deep pleasure to work with her in her role as warden. We face many challenges as a county, as many places in Ontario do, but it really does make my job easier at the provincial level to have such a great warden and council to work with, to partner with, and to move our communities forward. Similar to MP Nader, I don't want to presuppose the will of county council, but I do wish incoming warden Doug Kellum all the best, and looking forward to working with you, Doug, even more closely as you take on this new role. And for all of county council members, you know, I have an open door policy. You know where to find me. I'm looking forward to coming back to the riding after our session here at Queen's Park. It's a great honor to serve you at Queen's Park, but I do prefer to be in the riding than in the big city of Toronto. And I'll just conclude by wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, safe travels, obviously, with the current weather we're experiencing. The one benefit is we do get a white Christmas this year, I think. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. All right, next joining us from the city of Stratford is Mayor Martin Ritzma.
Well, good morning and thank you for the invitation. Where's the 2 years gone? Certainly thank Tyler and Rachel for organizing. You know, we didn't gain a lot from the pandemic, but certainly we gained this aspect of being more comfortable of having a meeting that is both virtual and in person. So thank you for that. So once again, thank you for the invitation and to be part of this important event. I want to start by saying I'm proud of the relationship we have with Perth County. I think about the shared agreements that we have that are to the benefit of our residents, both a benefit with regards to the services they provide and the cost efficiencies. To pick up on a word that Matthew Ray shared, is the challenges. We do have challenges. And I think collectively we need to continue to work with our federal and provincial counterparts to meet the needs of our residents in Perth County, to meet the needs of things that they need, whether it's challenges around housing, homelessness, infrastructure costs, and policing. So I'm believing we will continue to work together on those important topics. I want to congratulate Warden Agats for her leadership locally, and you see a lot of Rhonda locally, but provincially and certainly on a global scale. I had the pleasure of traveling with Rhonda to Japan, and to see her in action and to be representing Perth County and all that the rural community can bring. Not only locally and provincially, but internationally as well. It was a pleasure traveling with Rhonda and being part of that. So thank you and congratulations to the new warden. I look forward to working with you in your capacity once again for a shared responsibility and shared leadership in Perth County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. Moving on, we do have Mayor Al Strathy from the town of St. Mary's.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation this morning. It's my honor to bring greetings on behalf of the town of St. Mary's. I also would like to express my condolences to many of you and the Aitchison family, who I'm sure are in shock and suffering at the loss of Jim. Jim was a big part of the tradition of Perth County of service. And on that vein of service, I want to congratulate Rhonda Eggets as the warden, soon to be former warden, for her tremendous leadership and certainly a strong leadership throughout the county. I also think it's important to recognize Walter McKenzie for 40 years of service. And I think that's a remarkable achievement. And I think it speaks loudly to the dedication that everyone shows to Perth County, why it's such a great place to live. I will go on the limb and congratulate the new warden because Walter promised his animals this morning that he wasn't going to run, actually. So I think it's pretty safe to say congratulations, Doug. And we look forward to working with you. 40 years, imagine 40 years of Walter talking to his animals about politics, and they haven't ripped the barn down yet. I think that's incredible, actually. But thank you all for the invitation. We look forward to continuing to work together to make the region better.
Thank you, Mayor Strapke. All right, moving on, we do have the introduction of our council members for the benefit of everyone here as well as virtually. I'm just going to ask that each member stand and remain standing until everyone has been introduced and gone through. So representing the municipality of North Perth, we have Mayor Todd Kasenberg joining us virtually. Todd, you don't have to stand. Perfect. We do have Deputy Mayor Doug Kellum, Councillor Matt Duncan. Representing the Township of Perth East, we have Mayor Rhonda Eggets, Deputy Mayor Hugh McDermott, Councillor Jerry Smith. Representing the Township of Perth South, we have Mayor Sue Orr, Councillor Bob Wilhelm. And representing the municipality of West Perth, we have Mayor Walter McKenzie and Deputy Mayor Dean Trenkowski. So these are the representatives of the 2022-2026 Perth County Council. You can be seated. Thank you. All right, at this time, I do ask the president of the Past Wardens Association, Bob Wilhelm, to come to the podium to present Rhonda Eggets with the Past Wardens pin for 2024.
Thank you, Tyler. I'll read off the past wardens. There's a few of us here and quite a few send their regrets because of the weather. So I'm going to start with 2004 was Ian Forrest, 2005 Ed Hollinger, 2006 Barb McLean, 2007, 2008 Ron McKay, 2009, 2010, and 2011 Julie Behrens. 2012, again, Ian Forrest. 2013, Vince Judd. In 2014 and 2015, Robert Wilhelm. 2016, 2017, Mert Snyder. 2018 and 2019, Walter McKenzie, if you want to rise, Walter. And then in 2020, 21, and 2022, James Aitchison. In 2023 and 2024, Ron Eggets. Thank you. And Rhonda, this time it is my pleasure to present you with your past warden's pin, and this time it is for sure pass. So I see you've already got one. So instead of me trying to pin it on again and fumble, I'll present it to you. And thank you for the wonderful job you did. And your dedication was just truly appreciated throughout the county, and you did a great job. Thank you for it.
Thank you.
Rick, thank you. All right, moving on, we are doing the candidate's declaration of intent to run for warden. From amongst these individuals, council elects one of its members annually to serve as their warden. The warden serves as the head of council and the chief executive officer for the county of Perth, and has specific legislative procedural duties and responsibilities to fulfill within the role as defined in section 225 of the Municipal Act 2001 RSO. With such responsibilities, the head of council has a prominent and highly public profile. The citizens that we serve have high and sometimes varied expectations. for their head of council. Part of the role as warden is to find a way to balance these expectations while being also mindful of the decisions of the municipality are made by council as a whole. Past practice in Perth County is that those who intend to seek the position of warden shall declare their intention at a county council meeting in November. Accordingly, the members of council were polled at the November 7th, 2024 regular meeting, and Deputy Warden Doug Kellum declared their intent. This is the opportunity for members to declare an intention to seek the office of warden for 2025. Is there any other member who would like their name placed on the ballot for election at this time? Seeing none, I'll move forward to a declaration of the warden and the oath of office. In accordance with the procedure bylaw, I declare Doug Kellum as the warden of the County of Perth. Warden Kellum, would you please come forward to the podium to take the declaration of office? So if you want, just go through here, to here, to here.
Thank you, Tech Secretary. I, Doug Kellum, having been elected or appointed to the office of warden in the municipality of the County of Perth, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of your knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or any promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any other improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you. At this time, I ask everyone to please congratulate our 2025 warden, Doug Kellum.
Just keep it.
Excellent. All right. So moving along, this is the declaration for or intent to run for the deputy warden. So likewise, past practice in Perth County is that those who intend to seek the position of deputy warden shall declare their intention at the county council meeting in November. Accordingly, the members of council were polled at that November 7th, 2024 regular meeting. At this time, Councillor Dean Trankowski has put forward their intention to seek the position of deputy warden. I'm going to ask here, is there any other member who would like to place their name on the ballot for election of deputy warden? Seeing that there is no other names being put forth, there's only one candidate, I'm going to move forward with the declaration of the deputy warden. If Councillor Trankowski, if you'd like to come forward, that'd be great. So in accordance with the County of Perth procedure bylaw, I declare Councillor Trankowski as the deputy warden of the County of Perth. You go ahead and go through the declaration, that'd be great, appreciate it.
Thanks, Tyler. So I, William Dean Trentowski, having been elected or appointed to the office of the deputy warden in the municipality of the County of Perth, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III. And I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Thank you. Everyone, please congratulate our 2025 Deputy Warden, Dean Trankowski. right, at this time, I'm going to ask that the past warden, Rhonda Eggetts, come forward, and the current warden, Doug Kellum, come forward as well to do the presentation of the chain of office and the gavel. Hang on, you. Yep, perfect. All right, before I hand the floor over to our new warden, I would like to thank a couple of individuals today to make this possible. The staff at Arden Park, Communications Officer Sarah Franklin, for organizing what could have been an election with the ballots. Technology Services staff, Legislative Services staff, Rachel Cannon, who's here today, and Julianne Scott, who organized with the MP and the MPP. So I'd like to thank everyone for attending today, as well as all the snowplows out to make sure that we could get to the venue. So greatly appreciated. Warden Kellum, floor is yours.
And again, thank you everyone for attending this morning. I know that if it wasn't this special day, I would not have made the trip. I must give a special thank you to my sister Linda and husband Ross. They made it all the way from Aurelia. The rest of my family could not make it, obviously, because of the weather, but that was a wise decision. So good morning, members of County Council, staff, guests, members of the public. I am delighted and honored to serve as the 154th warden for Perth County this year. I appreciate the trust you place in me as I step into this important role. This is my 10th year serving on County Council, and in recent years, serving as Deputy Warden. I look forward to working alongside Deputy Warden Trentowski as he steps into the role of Deputy Warden. I also look forward to making my way across county throughout this year and working alongside our local municipal partners and beyond. It's an exciting time to step into this role at Perth County. This past year, we've achieved some significant milestones. The new official plan is complete and has been submitted to the province for review. This is a big step forward for the county, and once approved by the ministry, it will mean great things for the future growth and development of our region. This year has also seen great progress in continuation of work on the historic renovation expansion of the county's office at the courthouse campus. This renovated space will provide a new and expanded home for county staff. This year will be an exciting time as administration staff settle into this new space. I'd like to thank county staff for their continued hard work, dedication, and patience, particularly during the construction. Later this morning during our regular meeting, Council will hear more about the work plan for 2025 as we review the operating budget. I know staff have worked hard to prepare this budget during a year where all municipalities in Ontario manage the impacts of inflation. As I stand here, there are many people I would like to acknowledge and thank. Before I do that, I would first like to acknowledge someone who unfortunately is not here with us today. Our fellow council member and former warden of Perth County, Jim Aitchison. Jim was a wonderful colleague to have on council, and he will be deeply missed by all. He served in this role as warden of Perth County for 3 years during the pandemic, which were some of the most challenging times we've seen in our region. I learned a lot from watching him, and I hope I can live up to the hard work of Jim and all the past wardens who have served in this role before me. I'd like to thank outgoing Warden Ron Davis. It has been a busy 2 years for you as Warden. The many phone calls, text messages, and emails received from you to keep me in the loop or just to bounce something off are greatly appreciated. I've watched your dedication in this role and certainly have learned a lot from you as well. To my colleagues around the council table, as well as staff members at the county and lower tiers, I look forward to working with all of you and the people of Perth County to build a prosperous future for our community. To MP John Nader and NPP Matthew Ray, thank you for always listening to our concerns, making sure that they get addressed. To our municipal partners, Mayor Ritzma from the City of Stratford and Mayor Strathedy from the town of St. Mary's, it is vital that we continue to work together, ensuring that our constituents receive the ongoing shared services they so well deserve. Thank you for attending this morning. And Jan, watching with my kids and grandkids back in Listowel, thanks for everything. Just for listening to me or being so patient for those 10-minute grocery shop runs that usually turn into 45 minutes as I speak with residents what is going on in the town or county. So this brings us to an end. Stay around, socialize for a bit, enjoy your day, safe travels home, and Merry Christmas to everyone here and to all of your families. Thank you. So this meeting, I would like to call for an adjournment and to join our regular council meeting. The meeting be adjourned at
9:29.
9:29. May I have a mover? Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Smith. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you.
All right, so there are refreshments, there are snacks. We will be back momentarily. Councillor Kasenberg, I will send you an email when we're about ready to get going so that we have some indication of when regular council will start. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning, council, staff, members of the public. I'm Warden Doug Kellum and officially call this meeting to order. I note the starting time is 10:08 a.m. We acknowledge that Perth County is situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe, who have a long-standing relationship with the land and water throughout the region. We honor and respect the history, languages, and culture of the diverse Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit people who call this territory home. As a county, we have a responsibility for reconciliation and continued stewardship of the land on which we live and work. At this time, I ask for a moment of reflection. Thank you. Does anyone at this time have any pecuniary interest to disclose? Seeing none, you can do so anytime throughout the meeting as it may arise. Confirmation of the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda this morning?
Yeah, so through the warden, we do have one addition under the item 14.1. It's closed session. It is a matter pertaining to labor relations CAO.
Thank you. Are there any other additions? See none, can I get a motion? Moved by Councillor Rohrer, second by Councillor Wilhelm. All those in favor? That is carried. Moving on our agenda, we do have the consent agenda, 6.1 to 6.35. Is there anything under the agenda someone would like to be pulled? Seeing none at this time, I do have a motion that council receives the consent agenda, item 6.1 to 6.35, and approves the November 21st, 2024 council minutes. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Smith. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. This time we're moving into a planning public meeting. We will need a motion to recess regular council. Moved by Councillor Aggett, second by Councillor McDermott. That the council recesses for the purpose of holding a planning public meeting at approximately 10:11 a.m. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call this planning public meeting order. Again, is there any general interest to disclose at this time? Seeing none, confirmation of the agenda. I need a mover and a seconder. The planning public meeting, December 5th, 2024 agenda be approved. Moved by Councillor Trentowski, seconded by Councillor Duncan. All those in favor? And that is carried. We do have the minutes from October 17th. I have a motion that council approves the minutes from October 17th, 2024 planning public meeting. Moved by Councillor Wilhelm, seconded by Councillor Aggett. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, council will first have the planning staff outline the report detailing the application and staff recommendations. Council members will ask any initial questions of staff regarding the report. The applicant or the agent will be recognized and they may provide any comments to council. Members of the public in attendance will then provide opportunity to make comments regarding the application. And following that, confirmation that no additional persons will speak to the application for the public meeting be adjourned. Council may then consider that the application provide a decision either today or at a future council meeting. And now I'd like to ask planning staff to provide the report, and I believe it's Haley. She's joining us online. Welcome, Haley. Here, Chet.
Good morning. I believe there's a presentation that'll be pulled up on the screen. Good morning, Warden, councilors, and members of the public. I apologize for not being available in person this morning. I will be presenting Official Plan Amendment 232 for lands municipally known as 5788 Perth Line 8 in the Township of Perth South. Next slide, please. The subject lands are rectangular shaped, 41.7 hectare parcel along Perth Line 8. The land is designated agriculture, primary or secondary aggregate resource, and natural resource environment. The subject land is zoned agriculture, special agriculture, and natural resource environment. Next slide, please. The subject application for official plan amendment is required to facilitate a surplus farm dwelling severance. The application proposes to redesignate a portion of the subject lands from primary or secondary aggregate resource to agriculture, where the primary or secondary aggregate resource is located on the proposed lot to be severed. The subject lands are primarily surrounded by agricultural and aggregate resource uses.
Haley,
Yes,
Haley, it's just a little bit delayed over here.
okay.
So-
Do you want me to slow down or?
Yeah, so I know I'm probably about 4 or 5 seconds behind, so I'm gonna ask Andrea to come up and
Okay. Sorry about
Andrew's gonna
that.
come up and finish presenting the report. I think she'll be able to help out with it.
Okay, sorry.
But it's delayed on our end.
So through the warden to council, I'll take over the presentation. So this application is fairly straightforward. Basically, what the applicant has applied for is they would like to do a surplus farm dwelling severance. And in order to facilitate that severance, they need to do an official plan amendment to remove the aggregate designation from the surplus farm dwelling severance lot. And so they undertook an aggregate impact assessment to determine the viability of the aggregate resource on the property. And the impact assessment determined that as you can see, it's a very, very small space that'll fall in the surplus farm dwelling severance. And so the study indicated that there is no concerns with respect to removing a viable resource that would be extracted in the future from that portion of the property. And then further to that, as you can see on the retained lands, there's just a band of the aggregate resource. And the assessment also indicated that based on the fact that it's so narrow, it's not actually economically viable to extract a resource from there. And so they didn't feel that there would be any sort of impact on the resource on the retained lands either. Further to that, there are several pits in the area, and the assessment indicated also that there would be no impact if this surplus farm dwelling severance was facilitated and was in fact approved in the future, that would cause any sort of impact on those surrounding pits as well. And so simply put, the applicant is just simply looking to redesignate that very, very small space from aggregate designation to agricultural. And then, like I said, it would facilitate future surplus farm dwelling severance in the future. It did go to Perth South Council, and the council was supportive of the application. We have not received any sort of feedback from neighboring property owners, and so there's no concern there. So in light of that, we recommended that the application be approved by council.
Good. Thank you, Andrea. This time, do any council members have any questions for staff? Seeing none, does the applicant or agent wish to provide any comments or submissions regarding the application? Seeing none, are there any members of the public in attendance that wish to provide any comments or input in support of this planning application? And if so, please come forward to the delegation table and state your name and address for the meeting record. Seeing none, are there any members of the public in attendance that wish to provide comments or input in opposition of this planning application? If so, please come forward to the delegation table, state your name and address for the meeting record. Seeing none, are there any other persons in attendance that wish to speak to this application? Seeing none, no other business or announcements. So, that being said, I have a motion that the planning public meeting be adjourned at approximately 10:19 a.m. Moved by Councillor Orr, second by Councillor McKenzie. All those in favor? That is carried. And now I have another motion that the regular council reconvene at approximately 10:19 a.m. Moved by Councillor Duncan, second by Councillor McDermott. All those in favor? That is carried. Thanks, Haley and Andrea. Okay, at this time, we'll move on to staff reports. 8.1, planning services. And is Haley or Andrea going to do this?
I'll have Andrea come back up probably.
Okay.
Okay, so This is obviously the same application that I just presented on, so I'm happy to answer any questions of council.
Council, any questions for Andrea? See Todd on it.
It's up there, just delayed. Screen.
Okay, seeing none, I have a motion that council receives the Perth County Official Plan Amendment 232 Foster Northern Farms, Inc. report, and that council approves the Official Plan Amendment number 232 to the County of Perth Official Plan submitted by Foster Northern Farms, Inc. for lands described as Lot 6, Concession 4, County Ward 5788, Perth Line 8, in the Township of Perth South. Moved by Councillor Wilhelm, second by Councillor McDermott. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you, Andrea. Moving on in our agenda, we're on to 8.2, Corporate Services, and we have Tyler Sager presenting the 225 Board and Committee appointments.
Perfect. So through the Warden, before council is the boards and committees report. I appreciate everybody submitting their recommendations for the report that's going to be before council. I'm just going to wait for the screen to come up. Again, there's a bit of a delay. We'll walk through each individual board and or committee to ensure that we have adequate representation for each one of those. So I'm going to keep my screen open so that way you can see Councillor Kasenberg as well. But yeah, if we want to go through, start. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So the first board / committee that is on the list is Spruce Lodge Board. There is one member plus the warden traditionally. Historically, over the last couple of terms, we did end up appointing two councillors. Councillor Smith and Councillor Orr have put their name forward. What would council like to see here?
I would like to see Councillor Jerry Smith and Councillor Sue Orr remain on that, and I would be removed.
Objections? Members want to put their name forward.
Fine with that?
Okay. The next one is the Huron-Perth Public Health Board of Health. We're looking for two members. There were no submissions for that one when originally asked. Councillor Kasenberg does have his hand up.
Go ahead, Councillor Kasenberg.
I'm willing to continue my service there. I apologize, I didn't identify that. Was I heard?
Okay, so Councillor Kasenberg is okay with reading name forward. Thank you. Councillor Willow? So Councillor Kasenberg, Councillor Wilhelm. I did hear you, you are delayed, but it does squeak through eventually. All right. The next board committee is the Stratford Perth Museum Board. One member, and currently Councillor Wilhelm has put his name forward. Is there anybody else that is interested in that? Seeing none. Moving on, we do have the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee. Again, we're looking for one member. Councillor Agates put her name forward. Any other members? Seeing none. Municipal Shared Services Committee is two members plus warden. So if we move Warden Kellum into that position and Councillor Orr and Councillor Agates. Is there anybody else interested in that? Seeing none. Next is the Perth County Land Division Committee, 5 members. We have Councillor Trinkowski, Councillor Wilhelm, Councillor McDermott, Councillor Duncan, and Councillor McKenzie. Is there anybody else interested? Seeing none. Next is the Perth County Agricultural Working Group. So 5 members here. The composition is the mayor of Perth South and then the other lower tiers deputy mayors. In this instance, Doug Kellum, being the deputy mayor of North Perth, gets moved into the warden position, creating a vacancy for the North Perth location. Looking for presumably at this time then a North Perth representative to fill that North Perth deputy mayor position.
I'm willing to sit on that committee.
Good. So Councillor Duncan in there, perfect. Next is the Planning Services Review Working Group, as well as, scroll down, thank you. The Community Transportation Steering Committee, both of them are set with the warden being Doug Kellum, and then the heads of council for the lower tiers. And then the last one is SWIFT, which is the 2-year term, which we have Councillor Kaisenberg in there, and I believe that this is the 2nd year of that 2-year term, which kind of runs a little bit opposition of the council term of the 2 years, but that would complete the boards and committees.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any additional?
That's fine with this?
So just for procedural, the bylaw will be listed in later on at the bylaw section. We'll be having the names added, printed off, and then signed at that time to confirm the boards and committee appointments.
Good, thank you, Tyler. That being said, I do have a motion that council receives the 2025 board and committee appointments report, and that council approves the board and committee appointments for 2025. Moved by Councillor Wilhelm, second by Councillor Duncan. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thanks again, Tyler, for helping with that. Moving on our agenda, 8.2.2, we do have the forestry inspector's report, and Tyler will speak to that as well.
Perfect. So through the warden, before council is the October 2024 forestry inspector's report prepared by Marvin Smith, the Perth County Forestry Inspector. In the month of October, Marvin completed 12 inspections in response to the submission of a notice of intent and 1 inspection in response to a complaint. Other than that, we have reached out to Marvin with respect to updating the forestry bylaw, which will be coming to council hopefully in the near future. If there's any questions, concerns, inquiries, happy to pass those along to Marvin.
Council, any questions or comments for Tyler at this time? Seeing none, I do have a motion that council receives the October 2024 Forestry Inspector's Report for information. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Orr. All those in favor? And that is carried. Moving on, 8.3 POA Service Report for MSSC and Operational Update. And we have Vicki joining us. Welcome, Vicki.
Thank you. Good morning, Warden Kellum and members of council. My update today will be quite brief as there was an update provided last month. Court Services is still working with the Regional Senior Justice of the Peace Office to obtain extra court dates that are in addition to regular scheduled court dates. The report provides you with the statistics for the pending caseload, revenue, court appearances, charges filed, and revenue distribution until the end of September of this year. Revenue is higher than anticipated this year, and that is because of some large fines that were paid all within the first 6 months this year. Please let me know if there's any questions of the report.
Vicki, council, any questions for Vicki at this time? Seeing none, I do have a motion that council receives the POA Court Services Report for MSSC and Operational Update Report, and that council receives, that council approves the report for submission to the Municipal Shared Services Committee meeting of December 19th, 2024. Moved by Councillor McDermott, second by Councillor Agates. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thanks, Vicki. Moving on, 8.2.4, Stratford Perth Archives Report. Betty Jo, is she joining us?
She will be joining us online.
She sent me her notes if it's not clear.
But
Good morning,
same
everyone.
sort of thing, Betty Jo, that it might be delayed if it is.
Okay, Tyler, I'm no longer hearing you. Are you hearing me?
We are hearing you. Just 1 second here. Just 1 second. I'm going to try. Go ahead now, Betty Jo.
Okay. Thank you. I'm hearing an echo, so if you need me to stop, please just let me know. Thank you, Tyler, and good morning, everyone. The report from Stratford Perth Archives today is a summary of our activities between January and October to be presented at the upcoming MSSC meeting on December the 19th. An annual report summarizing the entire year will be prepared for the MSSC meeting of 2025. And in the meantime, I just wanted to highlight for council and in a couple of weeks at MSSC, all of the great work that archive staff have been doing. Some of the enthusiastic responses from researchers are quoted in the report. The newspaper database has now had over 50,000 views since it launched in September, and donations of community records are welcomed most weeks. And public outreach via weekly articles in the Listowel, Mitchell, and Stratford newspapers and making presentations to community groups is ongoing. I am happy through you, Warden, to respond to any questions or comments that council may have, and I thank you all for your time today.
Thank you. Council, any questions or comments for Betty Jo? I am seeing none. So I have a motion that reads as follows, that council receives the Stratford Perth Archives report for MSSC meeting on December 19th, 2024 report, and that council approves a report for submission to the MSSC meeting of December 19th, 2024. Moved by Councillor Smith, second by Councillor Orr. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thanks, Betty Jo. Now we're at 8.3 of our agenda, paramedic services, and I believe Mike is speaking to this. Deputy Hunter. And as well the deputy. Sorry about that.
No problem. It's all good. Through you, Warden, thank you. So this is our MSC report for December, and Deputy Hunter is here because the majority of this report is about community paramedicine, and so Debbie's going to speak to that, and then I'll just provide a couple other small highlights, updates, and go from there. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Through the Warden, I'm going to provide a brief update about the Mobile Integrated Health Program here in Perth County. We are currently supporting around 100 clients across the whole county, with many more reaching out on an as-needed basis. This number ebbs and flows as requests come in from the community. We continue to receive funding from both Ontario Health and CPLTC, with continuous conversations regarding future planning for sustainability of the program. This year, we partnered more formally with Huron Perth Public Health to provide immunizations of RSV, COVID, and flu in retirement settings, as well as to homebound clients or community members that would face a barrier getting out to receive these immunizations. We have signed to continue our partnership with Stratford Social Services. It's been really successful across the whole county. Working together with those two groups removed a lot of barriers of care that people otherwise face. We are doing ongoing clinics and meetings in all of the social services buildings across the county, removing, again, the health barrier that a lot of people are facing. We expanded our blood draws over this year, and those requests have continued to increase again across the county. A lot of people are limited with their transportation, let alone what's available in their community. So for anyone facing a financial or a physical barrier to easily have the service of a blood draw done at one of the established sites, we're able to go
provide that service, and then Life Lab still does all of the testing. We continue to work towards stabilizing our staffing. There has been some movement of clients' visits or modifying of those. The program is growing. The requests from the community continue to grow, so we want to be prepared for that. Future goals for the next year, we want to look at better community engagement, both with our partners that we're already working with clients that we can potentially serve, and a big focus on primary care. And we're also reviewing different pathways that we can better support the paramedics on the road by providing like an alternate destination outside of Emerge for some of the care that we can bring to the community. I also just want to share that this work is really meaningful. It's really connected for both the paramedics doing the work and the people that we're serving. And it's come with great new learning and challenges. And I think we're heading in the right direction to serve the people of our community with the needs that they have. We really appreciate everyone's support as we're continuing this work. If there's any questions.
Thank you. Council, any questions or comments for Devin? Seeing none, thank you. Council, we do have a motion that reads as follows. That council receives the paramedic municipal shared service and mobile integrated health activity update report for information. And that council approve the paramedic municipal shared service and mobile integrated health activity update report to be presented at the December 19th MSSC meeting. Moved by.
I think he had a few things he
Oh, you do want to add?
I will, in the interest of the procedure, if there's any questions, because there's a second part to that report, anyone may have questions for me. I don't know if they have any questions. You have the report before you. And I just talk about a few awards that our paramedics have experienced, and also that we've renewed our response time performance plan, which is an annual thing. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to respond.
And I apologize for that, Mike.
No,
give me a few meetings to get used to this.
We're all, everyone's patient. We're all good. This is awesome.
Yeah. So I do have a motion on the floor. And I have a mover. Moved by Councillor McDermott, second by Councillor Agats. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thanks again. Thank you. Okay, that's this time of the meeting. We move on to the 2025 operating budget, and Corey is coming to the table. Welcome, Corey.
Thank you, newly appointed Warden Kellum and Council. This meeting is to discuss and provide a presentation or an overview of the operating budget of the County of Perth for the 2025 year. Well, that means we go 2 slides. Okay. The proposed amount to be collected through the tax levy is currently estimated at $25.1 million. This represents a 13.18% increase from 2024. This draft budget is to maintain the existing service levels to Perth County citizens, as well as addressing some of the highest priorities of the county in ensuring a good position on our financial long-term sustainability. The presentation will highlight from each of the divisions these priorities. The 2025 budget includes $71.7 million of total spending, $60.7 million in operations, and $11 million in the capital projects. To highlight 26 and 27, 2026 levy, if this is approved, would be $2.4 million increase, or a 9.7%. And 27, if 26 was approved, would be an additional 1.5 million, or an increase of 5.56%. All 2025 budget expenses are impacted again by the high inflationary indexes that we see. Again, the gradual improvement to inflation has created the opportunity for a more stable and predictable financial plan without the use of reserves to mitigate the challenges we have seen in the past 2 budget cycles, including the current one we see today. These higher increases are continued to be mitigated by departmental reviews and the use of reserves to maintain existing service levels for 2025. 2025 has the use of $412,300 reserves, which is a 1.86% levy impact. Many internal divisions are seeing between 5 to 6% increases in their operational expenses due to these inflationary increases and the continued impacts to all municipalities, as well as the county's shared services seeing higher increases again with another approximately 15% related to long-term care, Spruce Lodge, and social services. But again, the outlook looks promising as Perth County proceeds forward in setting the county in a favorable position into the future. This next slide is to highlight some of the considerations that are not within the draft budget. The levy does not include the cost of the continuation of the PC Connect rural route service, additional financial requests from external organizations identified on the slide, and again, to reference, 1% to Perth County's levy is equal to $221,000 or close to $222,000. Grants within this program, in that slide, you'll notice that it's the new stewardship program implemented in 2024. The Cultivating Opportunities program has been discontinued, and an additional $25,000 has been added to the stewardship program for the 2025 budget and ongoing in the years to follow. Council's budget contains the activities of council. The honorariums of council fees have increased by COLA for 2025, and the net impact to council's budget is $15,000 or 5%. The non-departmental tab of the budget includes and contains revenues, expenses not attributed to any particular internal divisions. The reduction to the relates to the decrease in provincial transfers, amounting to about $264,000, and the reduction of the use of reserves in 2024 from 2024 of approximately $168,000. And again, other minor adjustments make up that $437,000 reduction you see there. As mentioned, non-departmental includes recommended funding from the levy stabilization reserve of $312,300 and the working fund reserve of $100,000 for a total of $412,300 to be funded from reserves. We do receive services from our partnering municipalities. This relates to the City of Stratford in relation to social services, here in Perth Public Health, Spruce Lodge, and the Stratford Perth Museum. The net levy impact of our shared services is $877,000 or a 12% increase from the prior year. General insurance. This is an item that we do to distribute amongst all of the supporting and services that we provide. The increase is based on a quote received from Aon. The increase is 5.53% from 2024, and the impact is approximately $20,000. Now I'll highlight, based on departments, some of the highlights of those departments for the 2025 year. The CAO division includes additional resources required to allow county staff to adjust administrative tasks accordingly, allowing them to concentrate on the very important corporate strategic priorities of the county in 2025. This includes the development of a communication strategic plan and current comms protocol and corporate communication strategy. As well within that budget is a comprehensive review of the council compensation with follow-up implementations. And again, the reason that the $140,000 or 34% is essentially directed to economic increases, but mostly to the resources requests within that division. Cool. Go back. Human resources, again, they are going to provide a better understanding to our exposure to safety risk and engage leadership through additional training opportunities. And will also ensure the capacity and capability of the workforce is consistent with the current county's vision, mission, and strategic priorities. And the increase is $18,000 or a 4% increase. Oh, again, I did it again. Economic development and tourism. Their major tasks or priorities are, one is a destination development and marketing, which is a discover more adventures, discover more flavors, and an introduction to a tourism brochure, plus collaborating regionally to promote cycle tourism. The next is a people and workforce development, fostering, promoting, and creating connections to welcome businesses and people to Perth County. Business expansion, retention, and attraction is the next item, related to growing, strengthening, participation, and supporting the investment in entrepreneurship growth with increased business networks and continued to prosper in Perth County program. As well as the affordable and alternative housing, which is advocating and creating innovative solutions with engaging local industries with workforce housing initiatives. And the final item is Mobility 2.0, or the future of the transit to support employment in essential services. Economic development is seeing an increase of $73,000 or an 8% increase from 2020. Planning and development, for 2025, we did get an official plan approved. So 2025 goals are the official plan of 24. What's completed in the year, and what is within this budget is that is proposed is to set aside $20,000 annually in the budget to deal with the next iteration of the official plan, or official plan 2030, as well as housekeeping amendments for all lower tier zoning bylaws will be completed in 2025, and a comprehensive zoning and bylaw reviews will be started and ongoing for 2025. Monitoring and tracking system and processes will be established and implemented into 2025 for the purpose of monitoring vacant, underutilized land in the county and tracking housing units. And the increase is $23,000 or a 3%. Emergency management is the last item under the Office of the CAO. No service enhancements, again, working on the regional program of emergency management to ensure provincial compliance regionally amongst all partnering municipalities. And again, it's a $2,000 increase or a 1% increase from 2024. Next section is corporate services. Corporate services is housed for legislative services, finance, technology services, court services, as well as Stratford Perth Archives. Legislative services. 2025 will be looking at doing business in new space, looking at cost savings and reductions to align with records management, as well as education, continuing education, the development of staff with the focus on information and privacy and good governance. The increase is $82,000 or a 14% increase. And in some of those items within is a higher, it's in relation to some of the impacts of decisions of council previously, one being the market review that was approved earlier this year. Next is finance. Finance will be looked to assist and support Public Works on developing an updated asset management plan that includes proposed levels of service. Finance is in a year of training staff on new and existing policy, as well as providing a better understanding of the budget process and continued finance policy development to ensure financial sustainability for the County of Perth. and the increase in finance is $43,000 or 6%. IT, or information technology, look to mitigate the corporation's current public website, or migrate, did I say mitigate? Migrate the corporation's current public website to a new platform that will be more functional, flexible, and enhance the residents' engagement and improve delivery for online services. An update to the base GIS data and technical system infrastructure to help streamline and enhance data access and sharing the county's staff, sharing for the county staff, lower tiers in the public, and then complete a final technology-related setup work required as part of the new administration office construction project. Areas, audiovisual, staff office setups, telephone, Wi-Fi, building access, and video camera setup. Increase to technology services is $82,000 or a 6%. For 2025 for court services will be to continue to address the backlog in trying to secure additional blitz dates, continue with the high level of service to the public and judiciary, as well as prosecution. To highlight, is prosecution has been moved to its own separate division, but no impact to the court services division and delivery of service. Finally, an increase is $124,000 or 7%. And I would like to highlight that it's the $124,000 is just additional revenues that we're looking at over the 5-year period. Enhances not necessarily the expenses, but also the revenue side of it as well. The last item for corporate services is Stratford Perth Archives. 25 will be to promote use of Stratford Perth Archives newspaper database and digitalize more newspapers to add the online collection, and to review and update all reference and research policy and procedures, including assessment of feasibility of the virtual reading room service. And the impact for 2025 is $22,000 or 5%. Public Works is the next item within the operational budget, and Public Works houses our general maintenance as well as our winter maintenance, as well as the facilities and fleet of Perth County. $2025 is looked to be a budget year to maintain current service levels, but to highlight some of the areas that are seeing significant increases or higher increases are the general maintenance over previous year's budget due to the increase in municipal drain projects, complexity of the projects and overall assessment, apportionment to the roads division for municipal drain projects. An additional $150,000 has been included into 2025 budget over the 2024. Additional increases in the general maintenance budget as well for centerline marking. Material costs increased significantly during COVID and have leveled off. The proposed budget for line painting has been increased to be closer to reflect the actual quantities placed over the previous years and a projected 2% increase of unit rates over the 2024. Winter maintenance has an increase as well over the previous year, and this is based on a 5-year average. The budget considers internal equipment rates projected to be replenishing the winter maintenance reserve, which is currently sitting at 0. No significant changes in the fleet operations other than adjustments to market conditions such as fuel, and no significant changes to facility operations, adjusting to reflect the occupancy space of the courthouse, as well as the connecting link and 24 St. Andrew. Last department is paramedic services. 2025 priorities for paramedic services is to continue and strengthen the business processes. As a designated catch-up year, PCPS will continue to update policy, best practice, and develop new programs to both emergency response and mobile integrated health. Primary plan, the completed work on the development of a primary plan that provides a 5 to 10 year series of recommendations enabling Perth County, enabling paramedic services to inform decision-making and council in terms of the future planning and resource allocations for Perth County. There will be a rollout of a new technologies related to new defibrillator rollouts to PCPS in the field using First Watch to make business decisions. And then again, our dealings with the Ministry of Health program and preparing for the updated policy as a result of the Ministry of Health evolving mandate and patient care options. And to highlight the increased call volumes and employment mix has created the need to increase staffing in 2025 by approximately 2.5 FTEs. This is to ensure existing service levels are maintained with call volumes increasing and staff employment mix aging 1 more year. Thank you. If there's any questions of council, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Corey. Open the floor up. Any questions or comments? First, I have Councillor Duncan.
Through your Warden. Corey, you mentioned the increased cost of municipal drainage being assessed to the roads. Do you have a number for that? And I don't even ask for it today. If you could just email it to me, I'd like to see that number.
That's the difficult part, is the number related to the apportionment of the county road component is based on the activities of the member municipalities in relation to the drainage work that is currently going on there. 2 of the 4 municipalities might have a light year in drainage, but the other 2 might not, or all 4 have a heavy year in drainage. Again, it's based on the citizen and requirements of drains that need to be updated or maintained, and that we are just a component of that. So a dollar value is difficult, but we could do potentially an estimate working with the member municipalities to identify that amount.
And do we have a dollar number from last year, like an actual from last year as to what that might roughly be?
So I think with respect to what we were forecasting, we had actually added money into the 2024 budget to deal with this. We're over budget on that item, and we're forecasted to be over budget by the end of 2024. And that's the reason for adding another $150,000 to that line item for 2025.
Okay, thank you. We're seeing the same thing in the lower tiers as well, so thank you.
Councillor Duncan. Councillor Smith.
Thanks, Warden, through you. So my question refers to the corporate service, corporate service under the legislation, legislative services. And it kind of goes back to Manager Hamilton's report with the fines. So we've got a big increase in fines collected. The budget for 24 was about 1.5 million in fines to be collected, and we're at 2 million plus, and that was to the end of September. Excuse me. There's still 3 more months of fines to collect. So I'm assuming that would be well over $500,000 in surplus. And I know we have policies for surpluses at the end of the year where they go. Is there any opportunity for us to take that surplus of fines, to use it anywhere in the 2025 budget to help alleviate anything? We're obviously looking for any way to help with this year's budget. Just a question for you, Corey, or whomever, if there's any help there.
Through the Warden, so we do have a memorandum of understanding with the partner municipalities related to items that are located in the court services division. They're looked at in a sense that we have set it up to where the profit generated in that division is distributed to the partners, City of Stratford, Town of St. Mary's, as well as the lower tiers. Within that agreement, it's not necessarily, I'm not gonna put any words in any accounts. That portion of Perth County could be used and retained for the purpose of the county, but then we're only just having a conversation because it's gonna impact the municipalities related to their percentage. So it's really just shifting it from the county conversation of increase to the lower tiers.
Anyone else? Councilor House?
Yeah, I've got quite a number of questions that I would like to send to Corey. I apologize, I did not get all the way through this, fine to come like I would like to, in circumstances and provide me the time. But I don't have a problem with that as long as we're not gonna pass the budget today.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Seeing none? Thank you, Corey. I do have a motion in front of me, Council, that reads as follows. That Council receives the 2025 operating budget presentations by Councilor McDermott, second by Councilor Wilhelm. All those in favor? That is carried. Thanks, Corey. Moving on in our agenda, we have the past Warden's activity report. Anyone have any questions for Rhonda at all? Seeing none, I have a motion that says that Council receives the Warden's activity report, November 24th, 2024 report for information. Moved by Councilor McDermott, second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Try and bring Justin in. I noticed that it has gone a little bit better and it's about a half a second delay. Yeah, if you can see it. Let's see if we can bring Justin in, see how it works out.
Morning. Maybe we'll do a sound check before I start.
It's about 3/4 of a second delayed. So if we have any hiccups, we'll let you know, but we should be okay. On my screen, I can see you talking fine, but with the projector, there's again that 3/4 of a second of a delay.
Okay, noted. I will do my best to speak slowly and not use any, say anything unnecessarily so we can get through this presentation. So if you could pull that up, please. And while that's being loaded, just wanted to congratulate the new warden and deputy warden on your appointments. And I'm happy to be here presenting Community Transportation Steering Committee's report on their behalf.
Justin, we didn't receive anything. Do you want to share your screen and bring it up on yours?
Yep, I can do that. Bear with me a second. Hopefully that is working for everybody.
It is.
Excellent. So through the warden, I'm happy to present the Community Transportation Steering Committee report to County Council. I'll quickly walk through the report. So firstly, the recommendation that was put forward by the committee was that Council adopt Transportation Steering Committee recommendation and staff be directed to take the necessary steps to extend the county's rural route program for 9 months to December 31st, 2025, with a report back in Q3 of 2025. In terms of some of the key dates that were in fact driving the need for a council decision, so obviously we had our limited envelope that we will have fully expended by the end of March 31st. We have a minimum 90-day timeline to terminate any service agreement. And again, the Transportation Steering Committee met on November 13th to put forward this recommendation. So just a few points on our ridership. So our ridership trend continues to be strong with the growth month over month. In terms of our ridership, fares continue to be largely dominated by adults and seniors, and a good portion, 68% of our fares are paid cash on board, which is kind of consistent with what we've been seeing throughout the PC Connect service. Our cost per ride, which is one measure of the efficiency of our service, we continue to see that cost has decreased because it is closely tied with ridership. So as ridership increases, the cost per ride does come down as the service is a fixed cost per month. In terms of ridership by stop, we continue to see a good distribution among the lower tiers that have bus PC Connect stops within them, as indicated by this heat map. And the city of Stratford continues to be a large segment of our ridership based on being included as a terminal point for the service, a transfer point to other routes, as well as a jump off point to other local services within the city of Stratford. The committee was also presented with an update on funding to support PC Connect. At that time, we presented information on the Ontario Transit Investment Fund. Just to note on this, which is contained within the report, we had hoped that this fund would support ongoing operations of PC Connect and support the service as it transitions to the gas tax. Unfortunately, as details were released, it really is targeted towards new services or major changes to existing services to serve underserviced areas. So we don't see this as being that lifeline to support PC Connect in the short term of funding for ongoing operations. And then Rural Transit Solutions Fund. So this was a federal program we applied for early in 2024. We were recently notified of a successful application, and that application was to perform a needs assessment for PC Connect sustainability. So acceptance of this funding would largely be dependent on the council's decision regarding the future of the program, in which point we would utilize this funding to further assess and analyze the service and efficiencies that could be found to meet our current demands and meet future demands of the service. At the last council meeting where PC Connect was considered, council directed staff to engage in a community engagement process. Through that, we engaged Dillon Consulting Limited to do a rural route survey. Survey was open for a length of time in October, was available online, paper copies distributed at buses, municipal offices, other points of interest. There was significant promotion of this survey through the website, direct outreach, social media, radio, and more. And we were very pleased with a large number of responses from the community. So 945 total responses were received in response to that survey. So just quickly, in terms of some of the results of the survey, the full report was included within the agenda package. Demographically, respondents tended to skew a bit older. 66% were female, so slightly more female than male. And 70% or 69% of respondents were within that working age cohort. So there was a good distribution of responses. And again, a large proportion were from folks within the working age cohort of 25 to 65. In terms of the live, work, or location of respondents, we did see a good distribution among the 4 lower tier municipalities. So they were all well represented in terms of responses. as well as some responses from City of Stratford and others who were living or working within Perth County. When asked about usage of the service, so we did have approximately 303 riders who had used the service in the past month out of the 945 respondents. So that was a good kind of breakdown of riders versus non-riders. And when asked how often riders were using the service, about a third of them were using it weekly. So we could see about a third weekly, just over a third used it kind of more regularly on a monthly basis, and then just over a third were that more occasional users using it a few times a year or less frequently than that. So really a good response among users, non-users, frequent users, and those who use it more occasionally. When asked about the purpose of the PC Connect rural route trips, we see that the most common cited reasons were medical appointments and social and community events, followed by groceries and shopping for necessities. So those were, again, highlighted by survey respondents as the primary purpose of their trip, followed by retail shopping, we see at 32%, and commuting to work at 23%. In terms of the impact of discontinuing the PC Connect service, so the two most commonly cited instances were primarily related to quality of life. So decrease in independence and mobility was most frequently cited. Lack of access to social connections and community involvement was second, then followed by healthcare and increased transportation costs as the next most two prominent responses. So in terms of the impact, this is what our riders and non-riders were telling us about the service and the impact of cancellation. When considering the value of the service, we did ask respondents to assess whether they strongly agree that the service has value or not. We see, not surprisingly, that those who use the service more regularly see it as having very strong value. I will note that the bottom column there, the rarely or the folks who are non-riders, even among non-riders, we did see that 84% of those folks still found value in the service, even if they were not currently using the service. So some insight into those folks who are, again, non-users, but still see the service as having value. So finally, coming back to the recommendation from the committee, again, it is for a 9-month extension to December 31st, 2025. And then in terms of the financial impact of that, the approximate impact that's estimated for 2025 on the county levy is $225,103, as indicated in the report. So I think that is it. I will stop sharing my screen and open up the floor to questions. And again, my apologies that I was not able to be there in person today for this report.
Okay, thank you, Justin. I'll open the floor up to council members if they have any questions for him or comments. Starting off with Councillor McDermott.
Yeah, I was on the committee and I initially had supported the extension for 9 months, but considering the headwinds we have with our budget, there's going to be no money coming to help fund this. And the amount of people that are being pushed closer to the line by our living and stuff like that, when it becomes time to vote on this, I would move that we terminate the program.
Thank you. Do the councillors have comments or questions? Councillor Wilhelm.
I see the numbers there and I concur with you that over $60 per person per ride is outrageous, and we shouldn't expect all the residents to subsidize that.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Orr.
I would also support not going ahead with it, and it comes down to they gave us money to start it as a pilot program. We tried really, really hard, and I just don't see the numbers that are having it. If they were to give us more funding, province or feds, but stable funding, And if they're not going to commit to that, I think it's unfair for them to download it to us completely.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Councillor Higgins.
Thank you, Warden. I want to thank staff for all the work that they put into this. I know they've done an awful lot to make the transportation work and try to get everything to go the way it is. And I concur with Councillor Orr. It's just not feasible to keep going and the government not willing to keep putting money into it. But like I said, staff have done an excellent job figuring out the routes, figuring where it should go, how the people are going to move around. They've done a great job for that. So we can't thank them enough for all they've done.
Thank you, Councillor Higgins. Anyone else would like to speak for this? I'm seeing none. So I think we'll have a different resolution than what Councillor McKenzie, sorry.
Somebody's got to represent the other side. Anyways, I got to agree with everything that's been said this morning. And before we pull the rug out from underneath it, and I agree with Bob, like the cost per ride is really unreasonable for us to take that on. But I would like us to at least have a meeting with Matthew Ray, and I had thought that we were going to have a meeting at Roma if we could with the ministry. I guess what I'm saying is, let's just give it one more try, and that's kind of why I did support the extension for the 9 months. And if there's nothing, then yeah, I think we're good. I think we have to, and I know we've done everything we can to make it work, but I think there's just one more avenue that we should explore and explore that. And I think we've got to be quite candid with Matt Ray and with the province that, look, we can't carry this on ourselves. We need your help. If you're not going to help it, that's it.
Thank you, Councillor McKenzie. Councillor Trentowski.
Thank you, Warden Kellum, through you. I want to echo Councillor McKenzie's suggestion that we give it one more try. I understand the financial challenges, both in terms of this program and the overall budgeting for the county. But I agree with Councillor McKenzie. We should give it one more try with the government. The provincial government is putting millions of dollars into Ontario to revitalize and reinvigorate Ontario Northland, rail and bus transit to the north. That's serving remote and rural areas to the north, and I think the province should be giving equal consideration to the rural areas of southern Ontario as well. So I think we owe it to ourselves and to our residents one more time to lobby the provincial government, and as Councillor McKenzie says, be plain and direct about it. Like, if the province is serious about supporting transit through their provincial policy statement and other directives, then this is their prime time to do it. Otherwise, we can't do it ourselves. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Kasenberg.
Thank you, Warden Kellum. I'm going to join my colleagues from West in expressing my concern about the harms that we will do and the disservice we will do if we discontinue this at this time. We've essentially built a framework and a platform for us to deliver transportation services in our community. We do that every day in investing in roads and bridges and the matters of capital. And here we are, we're definitely inured in the transportation and transit business. For us at this point in time, especially, and I'm going to sort of put on the hat as being a North Perth representative, especially for the rapidly growing community of North Perth, which, will be a city in 10, 12 years. For us to remove transit and cause harms to people and to our local economy is a really bad idea. And I've certainly undertaken with due diligence the notion that, you know, a mayor has to look ahead 50 years. You know, at this point, we've got the platform built, and for us to sort of dismantle it and then have to start again in 5 years seems like a really foolish choice. So I'm going to be pretty full-throated in my belief, my convictions on this one, that we need to sustain this at least for the balance of 2025. You know, we talk about it as being a trial basis, but we need transit in this county for a whole bunch of reasons, including supporting those who are the least advantaged amongst us, including supporting making reductions in our carbon footprint by deterring ongoing and perpetually increasing use of cars, it would seem, and including our economic development, which allows labor force mobility, amongst other things, in our county. And for us to ignore those compelling reasons, I just can't fathom us doing this. And so I am full-throated in support of this, which to me is actually a weak resolution. I would go for the 3 years. I believe that the consequences to the property taxes are not that substantial in the broad scheme of things, and for the return that we get ultimately in ensuring that the most disadvantaged amongst us are cared for and have access to transportation. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Councillor Kasenberg. I'll give one last opportunity. Okay, Councillor Orr.
Sorry, I just wanted to touch base that I did attend the Western Warden Ontario event last October. Lisa Thompson was there with Matthew Ray and also Trevor Jones, and they had a fireside chat. Transportation was brought up. Never ever. They went more with rideshare programs, Rural Ontario Partners, and Uber. Did not bring up this kind of stable funding. So I'm again stating that we can figure out transit, but we have to figure out what we do well and do it well. And I don't think this program does it well. We've got to find a different way to help the people that really need it.
Councillor Orr. Councillor McDermott.
Just a quick question on timing. Being as it runs out in March, we've got to have 90 days. So backing that up, that would be before the end of this month, we'd have to make a decision, right?
Thank you. Okay, I'm hearing both sides of this here, so I think I'm going to break this motion into two parts. So the first one will be that council receives the PC Connect Rural Road Update and Community Impact Report for information. Moved by Councillor Wilhelm, second by Councillor Trentowski. All those in favor? And that is carried. Now we move on to the next. I have a motion here. It can go two ways. It can either be that council adopt or that council terminate. Who would like to put a motion on the floor? Councillor McDermott?
The motion that we terminate.
Terminate? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wilhelm? Okay, so the motion reads as follows.
That's going to change a little bit. Do you want me just?
I'd like you to read that. Thank you.
So through the warden, it would read that council discontinues the county's CT Rural Route program upon its expiration on March 31st, 2025.
You have a mover and a seconder? I'll call the vote.
Warden Kellum, can I call for a recorded vote on this, please?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Excellent. So through the warden, I'll go through the list of council members. If you could provide a yay in favor or nay in opposition. Councillor McDermott.
Yes.
Councillor Wilhelm.
Yes.
Councillor McKenzie.
No.
Councillor Duncan.
No.
Councillor Smith.
Yes.
Councillor Orr.
Yes.
Deputy Warden Trnkowski.
No.
Councillor Kasenberg.
No.
Councillor Agates.
Yes.
Warden Kellum.
Yes.
That's carried on a recorded vote of 10 to 8. In favor.
In favor. That is carried. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to bylaws in our agenda. I have a motion that reads as follows. That bylaw number 4008-2024 be read a first, second, and third time. Finally passed this 5th day of December 2024. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Councillor Orr. All those in favor? That is carried. Second bylaw this morning is that bylaw number 4009-2024 be read a first, second, and third time. It finally passed this 5th day of December 2024. Moved by Councillor Duncan, second by Councillor Wilhelm. All those in favor? It's carried. Okay, so we do have, that's right, thank you. This time, does anyone have any notice of motions to put on the table? Seeing none, no other business. Councillor McKenzie?
Just with regards to the recent transportation vote, I would ask, I'm thinking of the comments that Sue made here, are we going to look into other options that would possibly be available for residents of Perth County?
So through the warden, I would think that would be prudent for staff to do that. When we talk about removing a service, we would want communications going out to say, here are some other options. And they'll be looking at what's available.
You need a motion for that or just staff direction?
You can do a motion if you'd like. We'll do it. We'll do it anyway, but a motion on record is fine.
I would so move that we look into other options.
I'd be willing to second Walter's motion if we can add that the warden and deputy warden also reach out to our MVP and have a meeting.
Oh, certainly.
And stress the importance of rural transportation. And I just want to let everybody know, that's why I voted to continue this a little bit longer. I'd like to see that, I would like to have seen that meeting ahead before we pulled the plug on this, but it is what it is and we'll go forward.
Okay. If you give us a second here. Clerk is drafting up the resolution for us.
All right, sorry. Through the warden, the motion would read that council directs staff to report on the alternatives available for transportation services. That council requests the warden and deputy warden to connect with MPP Ray.
Sounds good. I do have it duly moved and duly seconded. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Are there any announcements from council that you would like to make for the better of Perth County? Seeing none. We do have a closed session at this time. I have a resolution that reads as follows. That Perth County Council move into closed session at approximately 11:29 a.m. in accordance with Section 239 of the Municipal Act SO 2001 C25 as amended to consider matter pertaining to negotiations, potential litigation from CAO, and a matter pertaining to labor relations from the CAO. Moved by Councilor Orr, second by Councilor McDermott. All those in favor? That is carried. Take a short break here so we can get everything around.
So through the warden, another item that has come up with respect to an incident that occurred this morning, we actually have to add another item to closed session. That item would be a matter pertaining to potential litigation, public works. So we would add that item now and then move back into closed session to discuss the three matters that would be before council. So the motion would be that Perth County Council move into closed session at approximately 11:51 in accordance with Section 239 of the Municipal Act SO 2001 C25 as amended to consider the additional item of the matter pertaining to potential litigation in public works.
Moved by Councillor McDermott, second by Councillor Orr. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Thanks. Now we are back in open session. I do have the confirmatory bylaws. The bylaw reads as follows. That bylaw number 4010-2024 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of Council of the Corporation of the County of Perth at its regular meeting held December 5th, 2024 is read first, second, and third time. Finally passed December 5th, 2024. Councillor Kasenberg, can you make that? Thank you. Seconded by Mr. Wilhelm. All those in favor? That is carried. Finally, motion to adjourn. That council meeting be adjourned at approximately 12:50 a.m. Moved by Councillor Smith, second by Councillor McKenzie. All those in favor? And that is carried. This meeting is adjourned.